We search for happiness in the world of objects. They give only temporary pleasure, but the real pleasure is not there. Real happiness is a state of mind.
Hi everyone, welcome to the very first episode of the Yellow Door podcast. I am so grateful that you've taken this time and energy to listen, learn, and grow. I partner with you in transforming your being, work, and relationships. Our guests on the podcast will help us gain new perspectives, challenge our existing beliefs, and learn from their experiences so we can unlock growth at the point that we are at. Our first guest on the podcast today is someone who's been a subconscious inspiration for me from my childhood days. He suffered his first major heart attack at 44 years, and the doctors had informed him of a bleak chance of survival. In his words, he asked for 5 years from higher powers, and today he shares his journey with us as he turned 94 last week. Having been a practitioner of yoga and meditation for the last 50 years, he has hours and hours of practice under his belt. I am thrilled to share this conversation with all of you as he shares his passion for proving the efficacy of yoga and spiritual practices in maintaining what he had and in increasing his lifespan. This is a podcast that can be enjoyed by you, your parents, and your grandparents. My guest today is none other than my grandfather, Devendranath Gupta. Hi, Dadu.
Hello.
Dadu, it's my ultimate joy to have you as my very first guest on the Yellow Door podcast. And of course, you're aware that you've kickstarted my spiritual journey when I was in my teenage years at school, and you've continued to inspire me through your actions. So thank you so much for allowing me to share one of our conversations with the world. Thank you, Dadu.
Okay. So nice.
My first question for you is that you've had several limitations, physical limitations now for the last 50 years. And some of the best doctors have previously and, to date, they inform you of a very different life trajectory and what you can expect from your body. But you've proved them wrong time and again. You've optimized your body, you've increased your lifespan, and most importantly, you've led a life of high quality and peace. So, if you can talk to me about what is it that you did, what did you think, how did you do this?
Okay.
Over to you.
Thank you very much for all your compliments you have given. But I can't. I can only give you tales. The Dadus normally talk in tales only. So please be patient and hear. Okay. Now, I had suffered a massive heart attack in Bombay in 1970. At that time, I was on. I was 44 and a half years of age. At that time, the only tool the cardiologist had ECG, aided by a few clinical tests. So, I was, so I suffered a severe heart attack. I was put on drip of glucose, etc., and fed some sedatives, and where the doctors were awaiting results, suspecting the worst. My assets at that time were my life partner, a very confident person, and a qualified teacher of good repute, and two very, very promising youngsters. The three of them would make good for themselves, but the kids were too young, 8 and 13 years old. I wish I could help out financially and morally till at least one of them was adults. Okay. So I requested for 5 years. I requested 5 years, which I was granted. Okay. Now, within days, the net result was within days, I was out of hospital and joined my job. Okay. Now, my discharge report mentioned heart attack, damage to the heart, and case of severe CAD. that is coronary artery disease. This was the result. To doubly sure, I started treatment from India's top cardiologist at that time, Dr. Rustam Jalvaki. He gave me a lot of confidence. I was keen on physical culture, dedicated to sports during younger days. Even just before my heart attack, I was playing competitive badminton and TT. He advised me against active physical exercise, but recommended me a yoga center for breathing exercises. So, so that opened the door for me. I had a lot of very great faith and love for yoga way of life. One of the oldest yoga institutes of India was in Railway Colony of Santa Cruz, Bombay. Here, they run courses of persons with medical problems, complete medical data of the individuals is studied, and exercise is suitable for the person prescribed. Am I clear, beta?
Yes.
I'm all right? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
It was run by Yogacharya Yogendra. So I enrolled for a 2-hour a day, 21 days of better living course. It was really good. Instead of 20 days, I continued for 3 months so as to make it a habit, a part of me. Thereafter, there was no looking back. I have no intention to prove anybody wrong, but to prove that yoga way of life can be a great support in curing psychosomatic diseases. Right? So,
thank you, Dadu, for sharing how your journey with yoga began. Could you talk to us about, how you integrated yoga and your other spiritual practices into your life going forward from here?
Off and on, some problems cropped up, to tell you frankly, because everything is not smooth sailing. But I was confident of the efficacy of yoga. My personal opinion is, that's my opinion, the yoga may not cure a damaged heart. Okay? A damaged portion of the body, it may not cure. This is my personal opinion. But if when it's available, it can, the yoga system when used can keep a body, whatever is available, in a healthy condition. That was my basic concept. So I stuck to that and continued further. Healing cosmic energy, in Japanese they call it kai. In China they call it chai. In yoga we call it prana. With every breath we take in, we take oxygen and other gases, but riding on that breath also is prana, the life-giving source. So we make use of this prana and send it to direct the pranic energy to various parts of organs, glands, and body parts, and to keep them in good health. This is the basic concept of yoga, right? Okay. Now on this, by this time, I had decided to pursue and persist with yoga. I was convinced that it is helping me. So plenty of, what I mean to say is, in India, we have plenty of wonderful spiritual guidance is available. We have to make use of it. So, but there are a lot of different systems. My idea was to learn all that, all of them, and pick up the best of the lot and make a system of my own. How far I succeeded is this story. So that system is nothing new, nothing original. It's all due to all this spiritual guidance I've been getting from various sources, and which I brought it into my daily practice. And I have stuck to it. Even today, I'm stuck to it. While into this practice, I was regularly getting my yearly medical tests. Every year, I'm going further in my life. So yearly medical reports, every time it used to be fine. Heart was pumping capacity at 60% plus. Is excellent, very good. So that means my efforts were paying up. They were working. It took some effort, a lot of effort, but it was all worthwhile. Supported by study of dozens of books on the subject, I have read a hellish lot. Whatever was available, I have not left. I have read a lot, but I participated in dozens of more courses after the Better Living course. Shall I give you a small list?
Sure.
2-week course by Swami Chinmayanand, example 0, followed by practical sessions in his ashram in outskirts of Bombay. Sessions of Shaktipat. Shaktipat is descent of grace with Acharya Rajneesh, number of them. Then did a course in transcendental meditation propagated by Mahesh Yoga with an accredited disciple of his in India. I did another 14 days workshop conducted by Swami Patabhi, disciple of Swami Rama, with all different, courses, and course of Reiki healing, course of pranic healing, system of Chok Sui, art of living course with Ravi Shankar, few sessions of Sahaj Yoga, meditation sessions with Sadhguru Jagui, Vasudev, Swami Shivananda, Swami Kriyananda, the American disciple of Paramahansa Yogananda. So all these various gurus, so-called gurus, spiritual guides, I made use of. So for my selfish purpose, call it whatever it is, but they are all very good in their own places. Okay. During this period, I was aging, to tell you frankly, because time was catching up. At age 58, I retired on superannuation in 1984 on superannuation. Till the time, smooth sailing. I did everything, all my responsibilities over. By now, lots of medical facilities had become available in India. I was adjusting my life accordingly. In 1990, that is 21 years after my first major attack, they didn't give me any time. That after 21 years, I was advised that all my 3 arteries were badly blocked. This is very interesting, eh? And I went through a successful total CABG operation, coronary artery grafting. I was told by the eminent surgeon, that time we had the American return from America. So he told, Rumi asked him, so he told him that the surgeon says, lifespan after such operations was normally 6 to 8 years. 6 to 8 years they give. But in my case, it could be little less, as they had operated on a damaged heart. So that's all this thing given to me at that time. A surprising fact came out. Another surprising fact, they could operate only 2 arteries. The third was totally calcified. Calcified, you understand? They were totally calcified since long back and could not be grafted. Normally, all the 3 arteries are required to live. In my case, one was dead, but miraculously, the natural support system saved me. These are some blood cells that take over the function of an artery, but with much less efficiency. Okay. However, my keen desire to know and experience. This is for you especially. Know and experience the who I am, the Atman, the soul has kept me, the experience of that, wanting to experience that, has kept me going. I had smooth sailing for another 25 years. Instead of 6 to 8 years, it's 25 years. I had smooth sailing till age 90. Now, further the story goes on. Due to some carelessness on my part, added to which was the high levels of Delhi's pollution, I suffered a severe heart failure, a hopeless case, but survive I did. Okay, I survived. But now the heart's pumping capacity reduced from healthy 60% to dangerously low 38%. So this is the state of affairs.
Dadu, if you could also share perhaps what your daily routine was with yoga and your other spiritual practices.
Okay, Balaji, to tell you frankly, it's very difficult because a lot of time has passed. Yes, I would start early morning. My normal daily routine would be something like this. I would get up early morning. They call it Brahma Muhurta. My yoga practices start between 4:35 in the morning, early morning. That's the time I devote only to myself, nobody else. So that's my yoga consisting what I do 2.5 hours would be some stretching exercises, breathing exercises, meditation, and a bit of pranic self-healing. Okay, and this would take about 2.5 hours. By this time, my life partner also would be free from her own course, and we would go out for about an hour for a walk, and all. This is the normal schedule we're following. And again, we 1 hour in the evening, I would devote for 1 hour or maybe a little less for meditation, and in the evening. And later on, both of us used to sit down and listen to some of the discourses on TV by eminent spiritual gurus. And sometimes we participated with them on different techniques of meditation, etc., etc. You know, so that's how we used to pass time. But besides this, we were doing something else. In the mornings, we used to listen 2 hours of devotional music. Minimum 2 hours of devotional music went on, and we used to enjoy that, to tell you frankly. And at the same time, I'm sure it improved the aura of the house, right? Now, this is, beside this, other times we would do the same as other people do. But this is something to do with this sort of connection with the spirituality. This used to be followed on a regular basis after my retirement. After my retirement, this has been there. That is from 1958 onwards. This has been there. And we have been continuing this more or less. But before retirement, also we're doing similar timing, the time allotted will be more or less same, but the timings would depend on when I'm free, because my job was very taxing and I used to work at odd hours. That's about all.
No, this is great, Dadu. This gives a sense of the time that you were investing, and you've spoken about sometimes it's not to carve out the time, but you've stayed consistent over the last 50 years now, with the practices. So just wanted to give a sense of how you were kind of spending the time over the course of the day with the different practices and yoga, which you've answered really well. Thank you so much, Dadu.
Thank you, Bataji.
So you've described this, and when you talk about your practices, what has been more effective for you? Is it the intensity of the practice or the consistency, or both How would you look at that?
Okay, Betaji. Now, I have a feeling both are required. Both are required. Consistency is required for long-term benefits, because unless you're consistent, the long-term benefits cannot be there. And the intensity also is desirable to make exercises more effective. If you don't do that, half-hearted efforts, they wear off very fast. So that's why I feel the both are required. Okay.
Okay. Dadu, couple of other questions I had. One was that, having lived the life that you've lived, what would you now say is the most important aspect of the human life? And secondly, what is the best thing about this human life?
But I made very, very complicated question you're asking. I'm a poor man with limited intelligence.
And lots of life experience.
Okay. So what I'm telling is all right? You're satisfied? Then I'll pursue.
It's your journey and it's a beautiful journey.
So the most important thing, human life we live, isn't it? That's it.
Yeah.
We want all of us. What is the most important thing? All of us, what we want from life is happiness, success, satisfaction. These are the three things required. And we all want, not me, you also, others also. Everybody wants happiness and success and all that. We search for happiness. The problem comes that we search for happiness in the world of objects. Things like big parties, gala events of enjoyment. This will give only temporary pleasure. They give only temporary pleasure, but the real pleasure is not there. The real happiness and joy is not there. Real happiness is a state of mind. It's a state of mind. That everybody knows, should know. We must learn to the art of going within to get there. State of mind, we have to go in. That's the art of you must learn. Okay. We must also learn the stress and tension. They are external, internal. So we should study them and get rid of them. And then go inside and search for the real happiness, which is a state of mind, not parties and things like that. Okay. Then, what is the next?
And so what would you say is the best thing about the human life? What has your experience been? What's been most enjoyable for you in this journey? Yes.
As they say, the God's best creation of God, what He has created is man, human being. Human being is the best creation. What more do you want? We have been given that. Human being, the best creation of God, we are lucky to be one. It has intelligence. Why? Because others, the other life creatures, they also go through enjoyment, but they are not able to analyze the experiences. Whereas human being is given the intelligence to go see all that and analyze and improve on this. So it is the intelligence. We have the intelligence to analyze the experiences, enjoy the charisma, that's the universe. Excessive sunrise, sunset, twinkle of stars, moving of clouds and whatnot. So much is there. So this is the, but they say that soul cannot experience this. So to get that experience, this wonderful experience, the ecstasy of life, it takes birth. Souls also take birth to live, go through these experiences. So we are very lucky. So that's what I mean. I don't know whether this answer is satisfactory or not, but this is what I feel.
Thank you so much. So beautifully put. Though nowadays it's debatable, our existing capacity and capability, like you described as human beings, is so beautiful and so vast. But again, it depends on how we're going to use it. Do we choose to enjoy it in the way that you described it, or are we, being selfish, and then are we living the life that has sort of brought us to the times that we are in? So again, it's a matter of taking responsibility, understanding the power we have as human beings, and using it wisely, I would say. Yeah. Thank you, Dadu. Thank you so much for that. Okay. Dadu, my last question for you is, what is the one thing that you would like to tell younger generations?
Okay, Betaji. Betaji, I feel, particularly the root cause of all the human suffering, ailments, miseries, they're all petty jealousies, attachments, and hatred. So I would want the youngsters, the next generation, which is more sensible, to avoid them, because they cause all these nuisances. Whereas love is the best tonic, best medicine in the world. Nothing can be better than it's a best tonic and source of happiness. Accept people as they are. People are, a human being is bound to be having positive, negative, both. Accept them as they are. And spread unconditional love and compassion. This is my advice. And I'm sure as you do what you will get back the same. Love begets love. So I would request that please follow this. There are small things, but it needs change of mind, change of heart. So it's worth it. So you can have a happy life. Okay.
Thank you so much for doing this with me. This was so useful, and I'm sure it's going to be useful for many other people. Thank you for taking the time, and I love you a lot.
Okay, Betaji.
Bye.
I love you too.
Thank you all for listening and watching. I am so grateful for our community. Please do share with us any insights that you gained, anything that really stayed with you. Please share these in the comment section on YouTube, on Instagram, and I will check out each and every one of them. And of course, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram at Yellow Door Talks. So that's it for today, and I will see you very soon.